Okay, welcome everyone. Today's topic is powerful blueprint to achieve your real estate goals. So we have the pleasure to have Frida here with us. Frida is my wife, and she's the brains behind everything we do. So please give him a big round of applause. She doesn't like to be in the spotlight, but okay, beautiful. So thank you for coming. And by the way, guys, the overhead projector, she went ahead and bought a new one today because my old one bailed out on me last night. So thank you, beautiful. So she made arrangements for the kids, and then she brought this one on time. So thank you very much. She's amazing. I've learned so much from her. Uh, because I'm in the tomorrow, but she doesn't let me do the tomorrow. She's now. When do you need this? Now. I say, can we do it tomorrow? No, let's do it now. So this execution comes from her. I mean, I've learned so much. She's a go-getter. I mean, in the past, she's seen properties at midnight, 1 o'clock. I mean, it's insane. She's like a machine, a non-stoppable machine, perfection, standing. Uh, so let's talk about our story for those of you, who don't know us. Beautiful. How did we start in this venture? About 2.5 years ago. Um, so we started to do a couple of deals, but they were not successful. Okay, buying properties not in the right neighborhoods, trying to do the wrong exit strategy, not supported by the property. So it was very, very disappointed. But one time, Frida said, "Let's go to a big event," and it was Andrew's right event. So how did you? What came to your mind, and then that you dragged me into this event that I never ended up going to any of the mastery. We ended up joining Andrew's event. So tell us. Oh, here, beautiful, so they can see you in the camera.
I think one of the things that actually I really wanted to do is buy properties and get the cash flow really quickly. So I needed, like, what drove me is I wanted some coaching done. Like, I needed somebody to guide me how to do it the, the best possible way and the fastest and the one with less mistakes. Because I had done a few mistakes before that cost me like nearly $100,000. Wow. Yeah, like, and I was like, I really don't want to do this again. Like, never. I need to learn from somebody that's actually doing it daily. So I was looking for, I went to a few events, I went to a few seminars, but it wasn't quite like, hands-on. Like, I needed somebody that they speak and they do what they say. Like, they literally, they do what they say. It's not like, I went to a few events, like, when I was asking the coaches, right, some, like, when I asked them, okay, so how many properties do you have? And they're like, oh, I have like maybe two. I'm like, so you want to charge me like $10,000 for coaching with you, and what am I going to learn? So two properties is not enough to get knowledge and to, in my view, the more you do, the more experience you get, the more you know, right? So that's really what drove me to go to his event. Is okay. I was looking around and I went to a few places. I went to coaching builders event, but it was just out of state, and I was like, no, I need something here. Like, I'm not gonna go out of state. Like, I need here. I need somebody that's doing it here, that knows the areas very well. That. So that's where I found this event, and I was like, okay, let's go. So I think Hugo was a little bit hesitant to join it, and well, it's either this or we get stuck and we don't do anything, and we keep going to events and we don't do anything. So I think once we did it, it's obviously paid off, and it's been really the fastest route to to actually acquiring many properties. and getting, being financially free in a very short space of time. I think because, we were financially free in like a year and a half. We're getting the 6K cash flow minimum, net cash flow a month in like a year and a half. So
Yeah, it's been amazing. And one of the things that I love about, or that I learned about Frida, is that she's so straightforward. When she meets somebody, I mean, you and I feel very uncomfortable. It's like, what do you do? How much money do you make? Not quite, but not quite, but
after half an hour,
after half an hour, I mean, she's got this speed reading capability that it's incredible. It's amazing. So she can network with somebody and understand like A through Z, right? Somebody. It's so efficient. I've learned from her so much. So tell us more about that, beautiful, because it's just amazing. I cannot describe how incredible these speed reading capabilities that you have. So can you because it's about people's, you're in the people's business, right? It's all about getting to know somebody. Not only that, but getting to know the right person and partner up with the right individual that does not have, that has what you're missing, right? So can you elaborate on that, please?
yeah. So I mean, I think it's um, you kind of you meet people and you have something that you have a goal, right? You want to buy property, right? You want to be financially free. You want to spend time with your loved ones, wherever you want to do. Um, and it's like, okay, so you meet someone and you obviously you are genuinely interested, right? So you lack something. You might lack credit. You might lack money, and it basically just asking the questions directly, and whether they're a good partner fit for you or not. Like I had somebody recently approach me, and they're calling me, they're texting me, like, Frida, can you, I really want to do this deal. I don't have the money. Can you help us get the funds? I went, okay, I wasn't really because, I now I have like 2 kids, so I'm doing a few flips right now. So I'm like, oh, one more. So, but she was very persistent. Literally, she was calling me like, she's like, I really have this very good deal, And I ended, I spoke to her and I went to see the property like 2 days ago. We, they found the deal. They're doing the rehab. They're going to manage the whole rehab. Um, Basically, we're just going to provide the financing for them. We're going to, find the funds and provide the 100% financing, like even for the purchase price and the rehab. So literally, all they're doing is they're managing the rehab, and they found the deal, and we're going to help them with the sale. So we did the partnership agreement basically on the spot because I had, we have already. I saw it, it's a good deal. They do have, some experience on the rehabbing side. The guy, the contractor, so he has people that into the rehab. But I was asking him a question. It's like, okay, so what do you guys? How many have you done? Like, how many flips have you done? What do you have to offer? So it's like, okay, I have time. I have, I can find people. I can do this. I have this. We can get it at a much cheaper cost. Rehab. So I'm basically going straight to the point. Like, I don't want to sit there and chit chat for an hour. You basically get straight to the point. If you want to go out and have a coffee later, fine, but business first, right?
And so, guys, since we have a small audience, we're going to make this personalized, okay? And we're going to crush some big time myths, okay, that is holding you back. So, our objective, Frida's and I, is for you to replicate our success. So, we accumulated how many rentals in the last 3 years?
So rental is like 38 now, and flips is also 11.
So yeah, and we want you to replicate the same thing, right? As Frida said, you need to work, you need to have somebody, a mentor. So now let's crush those myths and we're gonna make this interactive. So what's holding you guys up today, right? Because we know we've been together for a couple of years, some of you I know, and then I see you when I met you, and then I see you today, and some of you have not really progressed that much. So we need to understand what's happening, and we're going to crush those myths today because we came up with a new system now that's called the deal makers, right? That is working extremely amazing. We implemented this new system about a month ago. We already have 4 properties on the contract. We just came from the buying boss tour, so we show 4 properties. We should be buying at least one of those properties uh, from today's properties and trying to wholesale 2 more. And the 4th one, we're still going to negotiate with the seller, right? Just to make the South Holland one, just to make sure that the numbers work properly. We're also negotiating another deal for Joanne in Lyons. We negotiated a couple of deals over the phone during the week last Tuesday. So it's been extremely powerful. This is the way house buying should be. It's been incredible. Not only that, but now we are Russell Walker joined our brokerage, so it's gonna become even more powerful when it comes to wholesaling. For those of you who are interested in wholesaling, this is the place and the time to do it. Okay, so let's go over, and then we're gonna make it very interactive, including people online. What's holding you back? What's the biggest hurdle that you have in real estate today? That, you know, when you look back and think about 2 years ago from today, where were you back then and where are you today? Have you really progressed in the last 2 years? Do you think you've accomplished what you wanted to do in those 2 years? What's the answer? Raise your hand if you are where you should be today. Raise your hand. I don't see any hands. I don't see maybe one hand. So something is really wrong right here in the picture. Look at, did you hear what Frida said? Oh, 2 hands. Okay. Okay, so, but listen what Frida said at the beginning. 2, 3 years ago, from 0 to how many properties? Over 30 properties, right? We must be doing something right. Right, so we have really progressed, and that is why we're here today and coming up with this new system, because we want to make sure that you're not spinning your wheels, that you're not wasting time, because if there is something important in this life, it's time. Money can get you comfort, but time is critical, right? We're in Europe for 3 months, right? So I want you guys all to be able to take full control of your life, especially your time, to never, ever, ever miss a single time of your loved ones. Do what's truly meaningful in your life, because life is short. You've got to live it to your fullest. And for you to do that, you need to do the right things, have the right mentor in place, and the right system, including technology. And that is why we're here today. This is a very small group, but I want you all to be successful. We don't want too many people that will not follow what you have to, because we're laying down the path for you to replicate our success. And we already have, as I said, some of you who have not done anything in the last 3 weeks, you've done what you've never done in the last 2, 3, 4 years. So let's start in the room and also online. What's holding you back? Why have you not been now where you should have been? Let's think about the last 2 years. What have you not done? What's happening? What's holding you back? So I need answers from everyone. Finding the good deals. What else? Lack of capital. Analyzing the deals correctly. What else? Good contractors. More deals. Analyze. What else? Team to back you up. Lenders. What else? knowledge. Very good. So I'm going to address them all, and we're going to crush every single method. Now, from the line, online, Phil, can you guys say what's holding you back online, please? But we're going to start crushing these down. Which one would you say is the biggest hurdle? Let's knock them off from the toughest one to the lighter one. Which one is the toughest that you would say? Lack of deals, right? Okay, so let's start with lack of deals. Finding a great deal. And let me ask you this. How many of you believe there are great deals in your neighborhood, but still you wouldn't be able to recognize them or identify them? Exactly, many of you, right? So finding the right deals. That's one of the most difficult aspects in real estate because guess what? All the top key players, that's what they have. They have a great deal. They know how to identify a great deal. And that is why they're successful because they can easily identify them, analyze them. Analyzing a deal is not rocket science. You don't need a math major. And they have funding. And they have funding because they have a great deal. So we need to start with finding a great deal. Now, where do you find those great deals? Most of them are going to be the ones with the biggest spreads are going to be off market, but also MLS. Okay, so beautiful. What would you say is the in the inventory that we have, the percentage off market versus MLS? What would you say is the split?
I think like close to 50-50.
Can you imagine, guys? 50-50. And we've seen that in the last, I would say, 2-3 weeks, we've been going fast and furious. That's the phrase from Joe on MLS showings, scheduling MLS showings for potential deals. So how do we do that? We have two dedicated resources scanning the MLS. We're scanning pretty much all the major and top flipping and rental markets across the Chicagoland area, and we're identifying the ones that make sense. And we're staying away from the gut rehabs. How many showings have we done? And I have the stats. I have a slide on that. How many showings have we done so far, Jerry, in the last 2 weeks or so? What would you say? No less than 15 to 20 potential deals. We already negotiated two of them, the one in Country Club Hills, right, for 105, the one in Blue Island for 120, 115. We're negotiating Lions, right? We want to make an offer on 165, right? We're at 165 or so, 170 on that one. Lions, we already got a property in the contract in Dalton for 55,000. The ARV is 110. So far, I'm talking about the last 2 weeks. Already, we're negotiating 3 deals. We have one on the contract, just MLS, right? But this is the beauty about these guys. Why do you think I got my managing broker's license? Just to what? What was the answer? To make more money. Wrong. Just to have access to the MLS. Access to the MLS, just to find out. Would you like to see it or are you okay? Just to find out that it was like jumping into the ocean, right? Even when I pull up a property, boom, you freeze, right? You see so much data, so much information. You don't even know what you're looking at. You see the price, you see the description. So you don't know what you should be looking at, right? Because you need to know the ARV, the after repair value. You won't know that unless you pull the right comps within the right distance in the last 6 months that are comparing apples with apples, right? To be able to do that, unless you're a broker, there's no way for you to do that. It's going to take you, even if you're a broker, it's going to take you 5 to 15 minutes a piece. So no wonder people cannot find deals even within the MLS. Does that make sense? So then how did we crush that myth, right? So we hired 2 brokers, okay? They're offshore. All they do is analyzing deals. So when we schedule a showing for an MLS property, what are we preparing up front? Even before you go out to see the property, we're doing a CMA, comps. So they're getting into the MLS, they're pulling the comps, right? So that we understand what the after repair value for the property is going to be, okay? We also understand taxes. That's important because that could be a deal breaker in certain areas where taxes are high. We also need to understand, to have a great deal, make sure you write this down. To have a great deal, you need two pieces of the equation. You need the seller to be motivated, and you need to have equity. And that applies for a rental, a flip, and a wholesale. You need those two components. So on an MLS property, how can we tell if there's motivation? It's super simple. We look at the listing history, right? So we see price drops. How often and how much are they dropping the price by? Like the property in Blue Island, right? They dropped the price by probably 15 to 20,000 in like 3 weeks. They want to sell this property, right? So now when we schedule the showings, we're giving you the listing history for you to understand how motivated they are. Second thing that you need is equity. How much equity do the sellers have in the property? So we go into the transaction history of every property. We want to know when and how much they pay for the property. So we know the spread. So on the Blue Island property, we realize Steve listed it for 130,000. He paid like 2-3 weeks ago 72 or 75, 72,000, right? I was like, whoa, he's gonna double his money in like 3 weeks. Has he done anything to the property? Do you think he's done anything to the property? Nothing. He wants to hotel the property, meaning he bought it at auction because we know what type of deed he got. He got a sheriff's deed, so he bought it at the judicial auction. He paid cash, 75. Yet he's turning around and putting it on the market for 140. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But again, we understand he's got a lot of equity. Therefore, there's a lot of bargaining power. So we called him live, like 30 people on the line. We made the call. Jerry, myself, and Embre was on the call, and then we negotiated the deal. Really straightforward, right? And we ended up negotiating verbally 120,000. He came down to 115,000. The property would appraise for 200, 220 or so, 220, but it needed probably 40,000, 40 to 50,000 worth of work. But we negotiated earnest money 2,000, purchase price 120. So everything was done verbally, and that's critical, right? That's the new way that we're doing business and getting properties on the contract. We're negotiating everything verbally before we commit and put everything in writing, right? We never want to give an offer in writing because guess what? Whatever offer you make is going to be wrong 100%, either too low, too high, the wrong terms, the wrong earnest money, the wrong closing time. Everything is going to be wrong. We always build rapport and negotiate. The property we got on the contract last Friday, we built such a great rapport with the listing agent that he gave us 4 properties in Dalton, and his client is liquidating about 20 in South Holland. That list is going to come down the pipe very soon. So you guys from the deal makers are going to know about those. So that is huge. So just MLS properties, I'm talking about that. So we're giving you the right information so you don't have to worry, you don't have to create think work about what you really need to know on a property anymore. Okay, and I'm talking about off-market and especially MLS properties. So even before you go to the property, you are gonna know how motivated, how much equity, what the ARV is. So all you need to know is what the rehab is going to be. For that, you actually need to touch the property. Like today we saw 4 properties. 2 weeks ago, we saw like 9 properties. It was like a marathon. It was insane. So that is why we're keeping it now to 4. So once you walk the property, guess what? That happened to Frida and I. Many times we went to properties to see properties. Again, I freeze. Boom. I see a property because I have no clue, right? I have no clue about the rehab. I have no clue about the issues. I don't have any clue about electric, plumbing, HVAC, windows, roof, foundation, and the list goes on and on and on. So moving forward, how do we crush that? How do we make sure that we fully understand and assess a property? Who did we bring this morning to the buying buster? Licensed inspector and 2 contractors on site. So the logistics are as follows. We go in a big bus tour, and then boom, we get to the property, we get into the house, and then they do their job, whatever they need to do. The inspector brings its gadgets, the GCs check the entire property. After 10 minutes, we're back on the bus, and we do 3 4 minute assessments. The assessment starts by the inspector, and he goes with his big ticket items, right? What's really wrong with the property, or what's really great about the property. That helps so much, right? Because we are not, and we should not pretend to become inspectors nor GCs. That's their job, right? So we need to use the right people for their assessment. So that has worked amazingly well, because then we already have an idea how much it's going to be for the rehab. So that's the missing piece, right? We know the ARV, we're going to multiply that times 70% minus the rehab that is given by our GCs on site. Boom, we know how much the max allowable offer should be. And the best of all is that our open communication with the seller. So we partner up with the third largest buyer of judicial properties in the Chicagoland area. Okay, there are like 3 4 partners that we work with that buy hundreds of properties. Okay, and right now they want to dispose of many of them. So that's why we've been getting no less than 15, 16, probably 17 off-market properties in the last 3 weeks. Can you imagine that? Some of them were amazing buildings, but they needed a lot of work. So we're sorting them out in such a way that we just present the ones that are medium to light rehab. Okay, we don't want to do like huge rehabs. Talking about gut rehabs, Frida has a lot of experience with gut rehab. So beautiful. What's your experience with these gut rehabs? I'm thinking about like Westchester or some of the Belleville properties. I mean, she's done like big time rehabs. Like the building we went to see in Rhodes, the street was Rhodes, or this. Remember that two flat? Frida has taken on projects like, oh my goodness, when I see those, I freak out. I want to turn around and go. She will go in. So can you tell us more, beautiful?
I think, I mean, it there is a lot of unpredictable successes, a lot of unpredictable stuff. So, it's, I mean, you generally need to do pretty much everything new, like, you bring in a licensed electrician, everything is brand new, licensed plumber, everything new, from like removing, asbestos heating, old heating, big, huge radiators which have asbestos pipe, which, that was a surprise because we didn't know about that. But, some costs can add up pretty quickly with gut rehab. But I mean, they can be done. I mean, like that property, I have not received in 1 year not a single phone call from them, not about anything. So when you do, pretty much everything new, your cost you'll save cost in the long run. And then the ARV, that's the most important thing. That's really why I did that one, because I needed zero money down on the deal. I needed cash flow, net cash flow. So I need that property cash flow like $1,200 a month net with zero money in the deal. Zero. Like when we did the refinance, we were able to pull out every single money in the deal. And you make like $1,200 a month with zero money. Like it's infinite returns, right? So they are, some of them you need to check the area and they are worth it in the long run. Like there was another one which was pretty big. It was a 2-unit building. The village wanted it deconverted to a single family home. It was deconverted. There was structural layout changes, like the back porch had to be removed and put new flooring under there, supports, bringing an engineer on site so that he can check everything, he can do the measurements, the architectural measurements. So That was worth it too. I mean, that actually, we ended up getting close to 10,000 out. With not only zero money out, but we took 10,000 more than what we put in. And this cash flow close to 800 a month net after paying everything. So it's like, you're making 9,200 with zero money, not only zero money, but you're supposed to take the 10,000 out. That was actually off market. Yeah.
But you guys didn't ask how much the rehab was for the Westchester. How much was it in rehab? I mean, you guys don't want to hear this. Make a guess. No.
It's a three unit. It's a three.
It's a three flat.
3 unit.
How much?
190.
190,000. I mean, but you know what? That's too big of a project, right? Right now, we want to focus on the simple projects. Okay, we won't suggest for you to take on those projects.
If you haven't done it before, don't do it. Because there is just so much. You need the right people. I had the right people, so I got my GC. He came and quoted on most of the stuff. So all I was left with that was unknown was money. He actually got a plumber, which gave me a quote up front. So I knew kind of. The asbestos actually was the only thing that was, the pipes. That was kind of a surprise.
Westchester.
Westchester. It's a good area, yeah. It's worth it, exactly. So I mean, we do like 170.
So it ain't like, so you didn't.
So, yeah, 530.
And then we came in at the same time. I got reckon I got receipt. We came in at the same time.
It was a wholesale deal from Jesse Arenas. He wholesaled that. He made 20,000, and he made like 15,000. But I had a problem with that because he's part of the group, right? And he pays like 140 for deal vault, and then he comes around and we give him a check for 15,000. He was like, oh my goodness. And we teach him how to do these strategies. So he was like, oh my goodness, exactly, right? So he wholesaled the property to us for 15,000. It was still a good deal. But again, guys,
it cash flows like 1,200 a month net. He didn't want to do it. It was too big of a rehab for him, and he didn't want to do it. So we were like, okay, I'll take it on.
So the objective is to focus on the lighter projects, okay? It's doable, but I want you guys to begin with to stay away from that. You've got to scale first. To scale, you've got to stay small, simple, boring houses. Once you feel comfortable, then perhaps you consider those. But right now, they should be out of your scope for now. So that's analyzing, getting properties, right? So it's several months.
3 months. 3 months. Yeah. I pushed them.
But Frida pushes them is like, oh my goodness. Even she makes them work on Sundays, Saturdays. They have no holiday, no nothing. I mean, that is why I told Frida,
You're not working Saturday, Sunday.
So I told Frida, man, I wouldn't like to work for you. I mean, that would be like, whoa, hell. I love to work side by side, but I wouldn't want to be working for you because, oh my goodness.
I have somebody that I've worked with before that I know kind of how he works. So he has subcontractors, so he hired those subcontractors. So it's he knows my timelines and he knows like he's pretty good with keeping the time. So we have a contract for sure. Like every deal, even if I've done 10 deals with him, we have a contract signed. And it does say that the time it'll take. It stays there the time. But we haven't put any penalties. Usually we never needed to. But maybe if you're working with somebody, contractors usually don't like that. And you kind of, it's a two-way thing, right? So you work out with them. So
yeah. You're not the only one, and that's what we fix right now. So when we talk about how we've done it, so we're addressing right now finding deals, sourcing deals. We're going to get to the biggest investors pain, which is contractors. So we're going to get to that in just a second. But when I hear Frida say, my deadline, my time frame, her time frame and deadline is yesterday. She wants everything done by yesterday.
And one of the things that I told them is like, you have to do it like when it, by this time, because I'm gonna have the bank inspector come here to release the funding. And I actually literally booked them, and I showed them screenshots that he's coming. Like, you better hurry up and you better do this. And it works. I mean, sometimes like I've had some delays, genuine delays, so I had to go. But I would tell them like, say even if he's coming, after 2 weeks, I tell them he's coming in a week. Like don't tell them 2 weeks because they're gonna take 2 weeks, and then it's still not gonna be done in 2 weeks.
Right. So again, let's focus on the finding deals. So now the new system that we have with the deal makers, through this connection, these partners, we're getting a lot of off-market properties. Therefore, we're scheduling these buying bus tours, right? So that we take you to see these off-market properties. And during the week, we do MLS showings. So now to accommodate these showings, we brought two in-house brokers. Jerry Stanford is one of them, and then Mark Goodman is the second one. Okay, so they're gonna take you out to these showings. You are SVP, but they'll show you the properties. And then the latest edition, so we have a third broker. So also Frida, she's a broker. She's working on their Home First Realty. And the fourth broker that just joined this week is Russell Walker. He's one of the best wholesalers in the Chicagoland area. And it's funny, right? Because when we started in real estate, he used to do events. He's been in the business for the last 10 years. So I went to his meetings. I met him at Rams in Rosemont. He was so nice that, once he introduced me as his partner. I mean, I was no one, like close to what he knew or he did. So he's very humble. He's an incredible resource when it comes to wholesaling knowledge. And how things switched all around. When would I imagine that 2, 3 years down the road, he was going to be working for our brokerage? I mean, can you imagine that? That's just incredible, but it's all about the relationship. We've been in touch. He moved to Orlando, and we went to Orlando twice, right, this year. We met up with him. So we built such a great relationship. So now, how does his addition add value to the deal makers? It's huge because guess what? He does no less than 10 to 15 deals a month because he's got a big team. So now that he's working for our brokerage, every single one of his deals needs to come through our brokerage. So guess what? When he gets a property off market on the contract, guess who gets a first-hand look at those deals? Us, you guys, deal makers, which is huge. We have a 24-hour window, so we have a first-hand look. If we like the deal, we can see it and we can buy the deal, which is huge, right? Having that option with him, and the other way around, like we're getting all these off-market properties. Like today, we saw 4. I think 2 of them make sense. South Holland, we just need to negotiate the price a little bit more. The one in Linwood, we should buy. The numbers make sense for a flip or a rental. But the first 2 properties we saw in Chicago, and the other one was in Bronxville, or very close to Bronxville. Yeah, Kernerville. They should be wholesale. So we are going to tap into his resources as well for the disposition, meaning finding an end buyer along with our resources. So wholesaling is something that you all deal makers should be breeding, should be incorporating into your real estate exit strategies because it's a quick and easy way to get a paycheck. Yes. Great question. So you can legally do 1 wholesale deals every 12 months, but guess what? Since I'm a managing broker, and then we have brokers working for us, including Russell. Guess what? You can get the property and the contract either on your name if it's your first wholesale deal, but if not, under our brokerage. Okay, so we wholesale and do the disposition under our brokerage. And then we go 50-50 on the net proceeds of the assignment fee. Does that make sense? So even if you don't have a license, you don't need to worry about it because then we're going to go on the contract. Yes. Okay, great question. So this applies only for MLS properties. In fact, we used that on Tuesday, right? When we negotiated the deal, we made an offer on the Country Club Hills, right? So Deal Vault allows you to enter 4 parameters. How much are you going to offer, when you want to close, what the earnest money is going to be, and purchase price. That's it. Once you fill those fields out, when you click submit, it generates the 7.0 contract PDF, and it gets sent to your email along with your proof of funds, articles of incorporation. So all you need to do is forward that email to like Jerry or Mark Goodman, and they will do the negotiation on your behalf. But they're going to do that verbally. So they just need to understand your max allowable offer, and they're gonna do their magic, right? They're gonna negotiate the deal verbally on your behalf. So it's super, super simple now, and we're gonna give you all the information as I mentioned for all these MLS deals, including village inspections, disclosures, ARVs, timelines for the listing history, and transaction history, so you understand the equity in the property. Everything that you need to know at your fingertips. So you don't need to create, think, work, do nothing. And the cool thing is that people who don't have any money, right, and they want to make it big in real estate, we're pushing now, we call them the SWAT members, people who don't have any money, okay, to get these properties on the contract. Okay, that's going to be very critical because then they can present these to the capital partners, right? So we profile every single deal maker, people with money, people without money. So the SWAT members, meaning people without money, get a property on the contract, they present it to the deal makers, the capital partners. Many of them would be interested in getting a partnership, a piece of it, either through a JV agreement on a flip, or perhaps if they want to keep it as a rental, then it makes it a wholesale deal. So the SWAT member makes an assignment, a finder's fee. Does that make sense? So now, we're just talking about the biggest hurdle, finding great deals. So we're taking on the lead. That's our main job. That's all our resources from Deal Vault are laser beam focused on finding deals for you guys, because we realize it's the biggest and most challenging piece of the puzzle. Therefore, we've been there, we have the experience, we have no less than 10 VAs that are backing us up, okay? From analysts to data analysts to brokers, marketing, and so forth, okay? So now we're putting all the team to work on sourcing off-market properties on MLS, and then we're leveraging from our resources, our connections with the top key players in the industry to source deals for us, okay? So that you no longer have to worry about that. So that, for us, is one of the biggest challenge, right? Now we need to source deals, not only for what we've done in the past, but now for all the deal makers. Our commitment and objective is for every single one of the deal makers to have a deal very soon, right? Like today, we should be buying that Linwood property. We should make an offer. We should buy that property. There are 3 people interested in that: Eric, Joanne, and Ron. So we should buy that property. Tomorrow, we should get it on the contract. That's it. And the cool thing is that we have such a great relationship with these partners that they're being so transparent when they're buying these properties. I said, we really need to be at this number. We run our numbers. They have disclosed and shown me, Hugo, we bought this property for X amount. They show me the deed. And we're just making, even in some of these properties, less than $5,000. But they have volume. They want to sell them bulk. Does that make sense? So even in the Berkman property that we went to see, they were willing to lose $10,000, $15,000 just to get rid of the property because they want to increase their numbers. They want to increase their sales, which comes to us in a huge benefit, right? Because then they are respecting our numbers. So they're not going to do that for every single property, but that's just an example that they're very flexible, which is huge. So finding deals, you have to not worry about that anymore. We are taking on that challenge, and that's a big one. But we have the resources, the experience. Therefore, I told Frida, it's going to be huge, but we have to do it, right? Because we need to crush that need, and that's just a perfect example to challenge ourselves, right? Bring deals to you. So then, what's the next piece of the puzzle? There are 5 pieces of the puzzle. Let me tell you. Number 1, make sure you write these down. Number 1, finding the deal. That's going to be, scratch that up because that's going to be on us. If you happen to find a property, that's great. But if not, that's our challenge. So we're going to bring the deal. Number 2, the second piece is the money for the purchase. Piece number 3, the money for the rehab. Piece number 4, contractors, the crew to do the rehab. And the final piece is, if you're going to flip it, then you need to sell the property. If you're going to keep and do a buy and hold, then you need to rent it out. Okay, so those are the 5 pieces, whether you do a flip or a rental. If you're going to do a wholesale, you don't need to do any of those, just the first piece, which is getting the right deal on the contract at the right price. That's it. You don't need to buy the property, let alone rehab it or sell it or rent it. So we're going to help you with that, because we're going to help you on the MLS properties to negotiate the deal if you want to wholesale it. And we're going to help you on the disposition, meaning finding an end buyer to wholesale the property. So now let's talk about the second biggest hurdle that you guys mentioned, is the money, right? Because we realize that to buy a property for a flip or a rental, you need about $25,000 to $40,000 reserves, meaning cash. If you don't have that, you cannot buy a property. Okay, so we're using a great mortgage broker. In fact, he led Barnett Capital to its greatest potential. Now he started on his own. That's who we're using today. So over 70% of the deal makers already have a proof of funds, okay, which is super, super powerful. 60 to 70% of them have a proof of funds. So that's one avenue. The second avenue is the capital partners that belong to the deal makers have plenty of money, right? So when you do a partnership, even if you have no money, they can put the money for the purchase and the rehab. Okay, that's going to be huge. And something that is coming down the pipe, that we're not counting on it, but I already talked to our partners, the ones sourcing the off-market deals. They're going to commit about $20 million for private funding for purchase and rehab. We don't know the details yet, but when that comes down the pipe, that's going to be huge, because that means that all the SWAT members, meaning people with money, are also going to be able to tap into that to buy their own properties. Whether they want to do a JV, that's fine, but if not, that's going to be huge, and we're going to be part of it. Okay, when that happens, deal makers, whoa, it's going to become one of the most prestigious and valuable teams ever when we can tap into those resources. It's going to be a very exclusive VIP group. Okay, when that comes. But right now, it's not there, so we're not counting on it. I know it's going to come down the pipe very soon, but since it's not here, I'm not touching it, it's not tangible, we're not counting on it. But I'm just telling you what's coming down the pipe, okay? That private funding, which is great, right? Because how have we funded our properties, Frida and I? We have used hard money lenders and private money lenders, okay? So that's going to be driven based on if you use hard money lenders, both of them are expensive money, right? Like 10, 12% interest rate. It's a short-term loan, 6 to 12 months. So you want to get the project done as quickly as possible so you don't incur too much money on the carrying expenses, interest, taxes, insurance, utilities, and so forth. So hard money lenders, through our mortgage broker, he's connected with the top hard money lenders. He's getting the best terms, okay? And then you have very little, I would say, or the least amount of skin on the game, like about 10 10%. Some of them are going to ask you for 15. With our partner is the least. Not only that, but interest rates. So we're getting the best terms. George, yes, yes.
What have you seen in the past year open up a card and then they use the max on a project and came off? How fast are they increasing credit limits?
How fast
Are
they're,
they increasing your like 20,000 for
yeah,
the first initial?
yeah,
And then let's say you max out two cards at 20,000 feet. And you
right,
turn around, you came off and you're able to refinance.
right.
How fast are they evaluating your credit to increase credit
Okay.
or because all an algorithm, all
Right. So I'll address that. Thank you for bringing that up, George. So, but let me finish the talk on Harmony Lenders. And Veronica, you raised your hand, so I'll address your question in just a second. So we've used Harmony Lenders and private money lenders. Private money lenders are investors with tons of money, right? They're willing to be passive. So they want to lend their money in exchange for interest rate, which is fine, right? It works for both. We like them both. The big benefit of private money lending is that you have zero money out of pocket. They give you the money for the purchase and the rehab. Okay, it's interest only. But you always, again, need to make sure that on the back end, you're able to pay them off. Therefore, you need to have enough equity on the back end, 25% equity on the back end. So when you refinance, you pay them off and you end up with 25% equity on the back end. Example, buy it for 100, put in 50, it should have priced for 200,000. So you have 25% equity on the back end. So you pay them off either the private money lender or the Harmony lender. Now, George is mentioning for funding business credit cards. Okay, so once you are in real estate, you have to create an entity, an LLC, an S Corp, for three main reasons. Number one, asset protection. You want to protect your personal assets from lawsuits. Number two, for funding purposes. Lenders are going to want to lend money under your entity instead of your personal name because it's less of a liability. Should you default in the payments, they can foreclose on your entity as quickly as 6 months. If it's under your personal name, it can take up to 2 years. Illinois, they have to go through the foreclosure process. Illinois is a judicial state, meaning that it needs to go through the court system, and it's going to take like 2 years. So that is why, for funding purposes, and the biggest benefit is depreciation. That's one of the main tax benefits of buying properties under your entity. So along those lines, once you have an entity, then you can apply for business credit cards. Just like your regular personal card, you apply for business credit cards under your business name. Now, I was blown out of my mind. We have 5 or so that we have 7. We give you guys the companies that you need to apply for. So we pay 10% for the total amount of line of credit that we got, which to me was a ripoff. We ended up getting 7 business credit cards totaling 40,000. So we ended up paying 10% of that, 4,000 to this third-party company, just to apply on our behalf for these business credit cards. To me, that was like a ripoff. So now we give you the contact information, the websites where you need to apply for these. But to answer George's question, we got 40,000. I was very surprised. I personally didn't have a job, no W-2, no 1099. And then I got in the habit of calling the credit card every so often. I would say every other month, just to increase the credit line, right? So they said, Mr. Galicia, how can we help you? I would like to increase my credit line. By how much? And I just, I always ask for the stars, the earth, and everything in between. So I always said, if I get it, fine. If not, okay, at least I tried. So I always try to double that. And they said, what's the reason? I said, business growth. Okay, let me put you on hold for a few minutes. They came back, your line has been approved. I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe that. To make the story short, in one of our credit cards, business credit cards, the line is 125,000. I could not believe it. My personal credit card with the same bank has not gone over 20,000. I've tried to increase that a couple of times. They said no. Why? I don't have a W-2, not a 1099. Yet the business credit card, 125,000. I could not believe it. To me, it's sort of like a loophole in the system, right? If you want to go beyond 125,000, then they're gonna ask you for tax returns. They do further due diligence, but I just wanted to test the waters. I love to test the waters. You've seen me live negotiating deals. I love to test uh, brokers' ethics, right? I love the unethical that spill out all the confidential information about their customers. But anyway, George, yes. Probably, I would say 9 months, 9 to 10 months. I just couldn't believe it. Yet my personal credit card with the same bank wouldn't go beyond 20,000. Bank of America, Bank of America, and we have the list. Yeah, so we have all the list from Wells Fargo, American Express, Chase, Bank of America, PNC. I'm missing a couple of them, but we have them all available for you guys. So yeah, it's just amazing. It's a great source to buy materials using a credit card. And you also have the option to tap into the cash advance. If you need cash, I think on that one we have like 25 cash advance. It's gonna be super expensive money, like 20, 23% interest rate. Should you need the cash, you can go to the bank, bring your ID, your credit card, boom, they give you the cash. Of course, super expensive, but it's an option, right? We haven't had the need to use it, but we use the business credit cards to purchase materials. And when we can pay for labor, even better. We like to use a credit card for sure, for safety. In case, they back out, they don't do the job, we can still go and file a dispute with the bank. Yes. Business growth. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And this is the cool part about the business credit cards. You can max out, like when we developed the Deal Vault, I remember one of the credit cards had over 60, 70,000. It was maxing out. Utilization was like at 95%, yet my FICO score remained the same. It's untouched. They're two separate entities. I love that. So you can max them out. The key is to pay the minimum balance every single month. If you default and you're late over 30 days, this is going to report back to your personal FICO score. That's going to affect. But in the meantime, you can leverage 100% of the line of credit, no problem. It won't affect your FICO. That's huge, right? Because you don't want to affect your FICO, because all the commercial loans, hard money, lenders, commercial refinance, they're going to run your credit. The better the FICO, or the higher the FICO score, the better the terms you're going to get. So you really need to take care of your score. If you're thinking about residential refinance, they want you to have 720 or above. So you need to have 680 and above. Yes. Yeah, we always do that. We always have them in auto pay. Some of them, yeah, absolutely, it's a must. Auto pay, because you don't want to be on top of sending a check, or no, forget it. Auto pay, you pick the minimum or pay off the outstanding balance, either one of those two, or a given amount. We either do the minimum or pay off the entire amount. So that's with funding, okay? So funding, if you don't have the money, how can you get into real estate? You've got to find a partner. So how can you establish a JV? We're facilitating right now, because we're profiling every single deal maker. Money, no money, right? So for the people who don't have any money, how can you get a piece of the pie? You need to add value to the joint venture. How can you add value? Three things. Number one, present the deal. Get them on the contract. Present the deal that makes sense, number one. Number two, bring your own contractors. If you don't have contractors, we're asking the deal makers to get a GC, plumber, electrician, HVAC. How? Go to Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, Hobby Lobby. Talk to contractors, interview them, vet them. We're gonna also vet them. We're asking you for their contact information. We're looking into the IDFPR website to make sure they're licensed. We're gonna request their insurance. And also we're gonna check for references, pictures of previous jobs. So we're gonna go further in detail, but we want you to give us those contractors, because we're building a huge pool of contractors right now with the deal makers. That is so powerful that the 3-4 properties that we have on the contract, we already have 2-3 quotes, written quotes on them before we close on the properties. It's that powerful. So either you go there or go to the village, right? Go to the village and get a list of registered licensed plumbers, electricians, and so forth. Some villages give that for free via email or in writing. So we're asking for that, making sure that you bring that because everyone is going to leverage from that. Especially if you don't have any money, you've got to have your team of contractors because you're going to be adding value to the capital partner. And if you obviously have the time, then you may have the option to manage the rehab, okay, whether it's a flip or a rental. It mostly applies for flips. So that's how we're pushing the SWAT team to get a piece of the pie because that's my common denominator. I want you guys to be successful even if you have no money. That's been my focus, my commitment. If you don't have any money, why? Because that's how we started. We didn't start with much capital to begin with. So you guys will become my common denominator. But for that to happen, we're pushing you to go out, see those showings that we're bringing to you, those properties, get them on the contract. We're helping you with the numbers. Get them on the contract, have your crew of contractors, and believe me, you'll get a piece of the pie sooner than when you expect. And that's how the ball rolls in. And we're in the people's business. You have to connect with every single one of the deal makers, okay? Like on Friday, I talked to every single one of you guys. I think I called 30 people except for Stanley. Is he here right now? Stan. So he's the only one that I missed, but everyone is on my speed dial. I called every single one just to check on you, making sure you were going to come to the bus tour today. And it was very productive. It didn't take me more than 2 hours. That's what it's all about. Build relationships, okay? That's the new way. That's how Frida and I did it. That's how we're getting all these off-market properties. Guess through what? Relationships, right? All this shadow inventory that we have in DealVault. How do we get access to that? Relationships. That's been my job in the last 2 years. I laser beam key players and I try to add value to their business. How can I make you better? Like these big partners, how are we adding value to them? By moving and selling their inventory. It's a win-win for both. We get great deals in exchange. Their books look better because they're liquidating inventory. It's a win-win. So always think about your partner's interest first. Add value to them and you'll be very successful. Don't become a taker. Don't think about what am I going to get out of this. No, think about how can I add value to your business? How can I make you more successful? In fact, I asked Frida in the mornings. I've been getting in the habit, although sometimes I forget, but I said, hey, beautiful. I call her beautiful, by the way. So, hi, beautiful. How can I make you feel more supported today? What can I do for you? It doesn't need to be in business. It could be in with your partner, with your children, with your spouse, with your friends. How can you add value to them? And you know what the key is? To anticipate. You always need to be in anticipating mode, never reactive. Reactive, you are too late for the party. You always need to anticipate. So in the morning, first thing when we have breakfast, I say, hey, beautiful, what's your schedule like for today? And she tells me, oh, I have a big meeting at 9, or I have this going on, I have this appointment, this and that. I said, okay, so then I'll take the kids, I'll run them. Do you see what I mean? I'm anticipating and being proactive. So how does she feel in return? Supported. Exactly, right? The same thing applies in business. If you anticipate in business, in sports, everywhere. I love racquetball. So just like in real estate, I wanted to have the best mentor. In Naperville, Cheryl Gudinas, she's number 3. She used to be number 3 player in the world. So I reached out to her. I said, can you teach me? Can you coach me? Boom, we met up. She coached me for a weekend. That was the most amazing weekend ever. And she told me the same thing I'm telling you today. You've got to be proactive. You never want to be reactive. So what does that mean in racquetball? Super simple. Racquetball, you have a wall, you hit the ball with somebody else. It's like squash. She said you always need to be looking at the opponent even before you hit the ball, because when you look at the opponent, you're going to see how he's going to hit the ball, whether he's going to do a ceiling ball, cross shot, whatever shot he's going to do, right? You're anticipating, and based on that anticipation, you're going to move. Does that make sense? Versus just staring at the wall and waiting for the ball to end up somewhere that you're going to be chasing, right? The same applies for money. If you start chasing money, it will never come to you. Never, ever, ever. Never chase money, okay, guys? Never, ever. You need to add value. You need to anticipate, add value to people's lives, and you'll be set for life. Okay? In business, how does that apply? Talk to capital partners. How can I add value to your business, right? How can I do for you? And that's the first thing that I've been doing with every single one, from Frank Montreux, Gary Davidson, Andrew Holmes, every single one of the top key players that we've come across. How can I add value to your business and be persistent, right? Like Frida mentioned earlier, there's another investor who wants to really work with Frida. She's been very, very persistent. Andrew couldn't get rid of me. He told me, hey, Hugo, go away. I didn't. I never went away. And he saw me day and night. Fine. So you've got to be persistent and add value. That's going to be the key. Never become a taker. If you come across as a taker, you'll be shut down like so fast that your success is at jeopardy. So the biggest bottleneck of your success is yourself. Okay, you always need to add value to people, and most importantly, you need to recognize your weaknesses. If you have a to-do list and you're not getting to that in the next 20 to 48 hours, that means you've got to delegate that. And that's huge in what we do in our business. How do you think we could be off for 3 months in Europe and still run Deal Vault like a machine, still find deals and still not miss a single deal? They're like VAs, virtual assistants, working 24 hours on our behalf. And that's something big that we incorporated into the deal makers. That is why we're sourcing deals like no tomorrow. I like what Joe said, Fast and Furious. Reminds me of the movie Fast and Furious, because they are adding a lot of value to what we do. Again, we're leveraging from other people's time, right? And in this case, the use of VAs is huge in what we do. But guess what? You don't need to worry about that because we have mastered the art of VAs. We have amazing people behind us, and you're leveraging from their time and expertise that we're bringing to the table. My objective is for you to focus on what's going to make you money in real estate. That's making offers. For you to make offers, you've got to see properties. You cannot make blind offers. There's no way you're going to be successful making blind offers, because when you get a property on the contract through a blind offer, the minute you step in that property, you're going to back out. You've got to touch the property, right? You've got to talk to sellers and talk to listing agents. Last Tuesday, we negotiated 2 deals over the phone in like less than 10 minutes, right? It was super easy, powerful. So I'm pushing you guys to do what's going to make you money. It's like you want to be the best soccer player. You think you're going to become the best soccer player by watching videos, by being on the board, being on the sidelines? No, I'm pushing you on the field. I need you to have experience. You may not make the right move, but it doesn't matter. The thing is that you're taking action. So I'm throwing you guys on what's going to make you money. Seeing properties, making offers, building rapport with listing agents, and talking to sellers. That's what's going to make you money. And above all, taking action. It could be the wrong action. It's okay. Like we started this project 3-4 weeks ago. It wasn't perfect the first time, but this second time that we did the bus tour, it was way better. And guess what? It's going to become better and better and better to the point that everyone is going to end up with a property very soon. Question? Perfect. Very good, Freddie. Of course, I understand. So let's focus on what we're talking about, the money issue, right? The money should not be an issue, because right now there's more money out there to be borrowed than deals to be found, okay? And I can give you multiple examples, like for instance, in the group, like Ron and Stanley, right? They were on the SWAT team before. Well, before we didn't have the SWAT team, but before They were the time person. All of a sudden, boom, they did so amazing, right? And they end up with hundreds, tens of thousands now, right? So, why did I say that? Money, money, right? Money. So, exactly. So there's more money. People that, you wouldn't imagine now they could become private money lenders. Does that make sense? So there's plenty. And I can mention a few, like from our deal makers, Reach, right? I mean, he's got a lot of reserves, and he's an exception. He's got the reserves, he's got the knowledge, and he's got the time. He's part of the deal makers. He's an amazing resource. And like him, there are others, obviously without the time, but still they have, like Ram. He went to India, right? Again, he's really sharp. He's got a lot of reserves. He has zero experience in real estate. Zero experience and not much time, but he's got a lot of reserves. He showed me his family just recently built in India a 3 million facility. They have over 1.5 million stuck into that building. I mean, they're going to make the money, but that's someone that you can partner up with. That is in your speed dial. He's in my speed dial, right? So if you have a great deal, hey Ram, I have a great deal, right? And you back up your numbers because he's pretty smart, right? He understands the numbers, even though he doesn't fully understand real estate. He knows numbers. And then you can get a partnership with him. Does that make sense? So money is not a problem when you have a great deal. Yeah, Sixto, we hear you. Yeah, sorry, Sixto. Right. Okay, so let me summarize what Sixto said. You have a great deal. If you go the Harmony route, they want you to have skin in the game, 10%. What happens if you don't have that 10%, right? You've got to find a partner to put that 10%. That's simple. Or you go the private money lender route because they can finance 100% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab. Like in the condo that we did a JV, and then Frida's going to say something. The condo that we did recently, about 2 months ago, with one of the deal makers, Diego, right? I brought the deal. I asked Diego, you're going to put the money for the purchase and the rehab. It's super light rehab, less than 15,000. He put all the money. I said, I'm going to manage the rehab. When we sell it, we go 50-50. Okay, so if I don't have the money, we need to find another partner because I could have bought that condo using a Harmony lender, but I needed to put some reserves. But if I don't have the reserves, I can get another partner that puts everything, purchase, rehab, and boom, I don't need to put any money out of pocket. All I need to do is obviously get the deal on the contract. That makes sense. Manage the rehab and sell the property. Does that make sense? Yes, but you have to show them a great deal. And that's become our number one role, to source great deals off market and MLS. Frida has something to say.
Yeah, that's exactly the same thing that I mentioned before. That was the same situation with her, where she didn't have the down payment, like 40,000 down payment, last phone call, plus, starting the rehab. Definitely it adds up, right? So in the first few deals, you need to partner up with them if you don't have the money right away. I mean, that's how you get around it. And then once you make more and more and more, then obviously you can not, she's going to share the profit, right? She, we're doing a partnership agreement. So that's how you get around that. I mean, but the other thing is also you can use business credit, like what you was explaining earlier.
The cash advance, yeah.
You can put all the rehab, the material from Home Depot, you can put it on the business credit card. You might need some deposit up front for your contractor. I mean, not deposit up front, sorry. Don't pay them up front, never. Ever. I have never done that, but never. I've heard horror stories, but at least, they eat, I usually pay for the material. I don't let them buy me. Because they're going to ask me for money up front, then I have no control over the material. It's, you once they've done, once you've seen, like, let's say they demoed, they usually see the guys on Friday. And say, okay, yeah, I'll give you money on Friday, no problem. So you give them the money on, they're not going to ask you for a ton of, after a week or 2 weeks that they've done some work. So it's manageable, right? It's not like they might ask you, once a week for like 2,000 or something. It's manageable, right? It's not like 10,000 or 20,000 or less. They might ask you for less. I don't know, but that's how you manage that. That's how you get over that hurdle.
Will bring you, 5, 10, 15,000 a year so that it could.
Correct.
What you need. Yeah, it's gonna give you. I mean, it's gonna give you what you need. Like, this lady from the Leeds, she found a great deal. She does have a great deal. 4-bedroom house in Rolling Meadows. It's a decent area. I mean, I looked at it and it's a good location. It doesn't have anything weird. It just needs some rehab, which they can do, and I don't have to do anything on the rehab. I just have to find the detail. And, maybe give her some ideas on what sells, right? On the flip. There's just pictures of the previous flips that have sold very fast. So, but if you have a great deal, like, she's willing to let go of her profit a little bit more than just to make some money, right? I mean, otherwise you don't make anything, because then you can't buy the deal, you cannot do anything, then you kind of get stuck. So it's better to get a little bit than nothing.
Exactly. As they say, it's better to make.
In this deal, it's not like she get a little bit, she get about 45,000, which is not bad.
Yeah, as they said, it's better to make 20% of 100,000 than 100% of nothing. Right? So you don't want to be on, I'm going to make 100% of nothing, right? So rather you do a little bit, and it's the relationship, right? It's the partnership. We've done both. We've done both. It doesn't matter, because you're going to pay them off regardless of your exit strategy. If it's a flip, you sell the property and pay them off. If it's a buy and hold, then you refinance and then you pay them off, as long as you have the back end equity at the end. So far, yes, Veronica. What's the question? Oh, you pay them off when you refinance, and usually The seasoning period is about 3 months from the from the time you purchase the property to the time you refinance. 3 months. So by the time you do the rehab and then you rent out the property, if it's a buy and hold, then I think it's been 2-3 months, and then you can refinance and pay them off. Usually they give you a loan for 6 to 12 months, but you want to pay them off quicker because it's expensive money. Okay, yeah, you can do a refinance to cash out, right? To tap into your equity. Yeah, absolutely. Like the broker that we use, they can help you with that. Uh, huh? Say that again? Oh, we use Albica, Vince. We work with Vince. Yeah, Vince. You know, he used to lead Barnett. Yeah, no, he's pretty big. He's really smart. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So far, guys, we've crushed two of the biggest myths: finding deals and money. What's the next one? Is there another one that you can think of that is big? GCs, right? So that is why now the SWAT team is getting what I said before. GCs from the villages, GCs from Home Depot, Menards, interviewing them. We're doing the back-end vetting as well, so that we have a big pool of GCs, okay? And in fact, Zora brought in a GC. We're trying them out on a rental, a small project, a small kitchen. We're trying them out and see if it works, then you give them more and more. So you've got to try them, check references, make sure they're licensed. So that's one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle that we've solved by getting a pool of contractors that can go out, give quotes to the properties we have on the contract already. Now, some of the things that we needed to make clear to the GCs is we're not the regular, typical retail buyer. We are investors. So as Frida said, we just want a quote for labor, okay? We don't want a quote that includes labor and materials because then you lose control of the budget. You don't know what they're gonna buy, what happens to the returns and so forth. So we have certain standards that we expect from these investor-friendly contractors, which is huge, right? And so we bring experts for countertops, for windows, for roof, for HVAC. So we just need pretty much labor quotes on the interior rehabbing. Yes. So that was the estimated labor and material. So when they quoted 40 and 50, that's just an estimation for both labor and materials. But when you actually do the work, you want to pay, as Frida said, for always 100% for the materials. And then you just want to get a quote for their labor. That's it.
Yeah, and another thing with the leveraging, the live factory, like, so Home Depot will not, you give you like 5%, even if you buy. They don't advertise. Yeah.
Right. So the question is, what do they require, right? Harmony lenders, when they're going to give you the money for the rehab, some of them will require receipts, some won't. They are just going to send an inspector to check, and they're going to, what they've done, and they're going to match it up to your scope of work. So you said in the scope of work, it's going to be 15,000 for the first milestone of doing floors and kitchen. They're going to send an inspector. They see floors and kitchen. Boom, they'll release 10,000. Right? If they don't see that it's complete, they'll release accordingly. Yeah. So who in the room is a deal maker? Who's not a deal maker? Can you raise your hand? So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5, 6 people. So I'm gonna tell you what we came up with, guys, what the deal maker sees. We're gonna take you under our wing. Yeah, so what does that mean? So I'm gonna tell you what we're doing today and how we're gonna help you be more successful, okay? So this is what we call the deal makers. So this is what you'll have happen for you, okay? So you're going to be accessing potential deals that we're sourcing, like the Buying Boss Tour today. Securing funding, right? So over 70% of our members have a proof of funds. We're going to help you establish and facilitate partnerships, okay? That's going to be super critical for your success. Remember, get 20% of 100,000 versus 100% of nothing. Exclusive access to power teams. So we're building together a really big pool of contractors. That's going to be huge moving forward so that you are more successful, happier, have more joy, and most importantly, make more money than you've done in the past. So this works for pretty much newbies, seasoned investors, wholesalers, anybody who wants to build or replicate Frida and Frida's success, my success, in the next couple of years, okay? Now, this is what we're gonna do. We're doing the buying tour like we did today. 4 properties today, 2 weeks ago, we did like 9 properties. So the network also, so this is what the buying tour looks like, right? So we get a tour, we take you to see active off-market or on-market properties for sale. And this is an example. This is Joseph's. This is the property that we got on the contract from Joseph in Markham for $75,000. The next one that we got on the contract, another one in Markham. This is Joe's property. Are you here, Joe? Yeah, Rich had the other one. Actually, we negotiated the deal to $74,000. Both of these properties, look at the condition, and inside it was just so clean. The ARV on these properties is how much, Jerry? It's about 140, 150, 160 for this property. So pretty much they're paying 50 cents on the dollar on these properties. And the rehab is gonna hit 35. He's been getting quotes for 35 on this one. It's got a garage. The other one doesn't have a garage. They need to do the windows. The rehab on this is Joe here. It's gonna be about 40,000, okay? I think George just left. He got this one on the contract in Rogers Park for 186,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So what else are you gonna get? Access to our in-house brokers, Jerry, Mark. They're gonna be showing you the properties. Okay, that's a huge value. This is an example. We got this property on the contract last Friday in Dalton. So this property we got on the contract for 55,000. ARV on this property is about 110, 115,000. So again, we're paying like 50 cents on the dollar. This was MLS deal, okay? And the rehab on this is gonna be like 20,000 or so. 20, say that again? Yeah. About 20,000. It didn't need much work. Both the inspector and the GC said that this was a very solid property. So it doesn't need much. It's got a 2-car garage in the back, nice brick roof, mechanicals in good shape, windows are newer. You don't need to do anything to the flooring, just update the kitchen and the bathroom. And the kitchen doors will be resurfaced. This is an example, right? So these are the showings. Look at the dates. 11/11, 10/8. How many MLS deals were sourcing on a daily basis? The ones in the greens, in the green, we had to black out the address because we're negotiating the deal. Okay, so we're seeing these many properties, and you're gonna have so much information ahead of time, even before you go see them. So this is just to give an example that people say, oh, you know, MLS is too saturated. Well, it doesn't matter. We are going to find deals. We're going to show you the deals, and most importantly, we're going to get them on the contract. There were 34 offers on this property, yet we came ahead and we got it on the contract. Okay, so that's the power of the deal makers. We will get properties on the contract even if they are on a multiple offer situation. We know the tricks. We went over, deal makers know how to accomplish this, and we have our in-house brokers that are going to help you accomplish that. They'll do the negotiation on your behalf. So what else would you need? Funding. That's a big part, right? So with funding, so the bonus number one is secure funding. Our money lender, private money lender through our broker. An example of that is that over 60% of our members already have proof of funds. And the ones who don't are going to partner up with the ones who do have the money. And you're going to see what we're doing for the partnerships. Check this out. What else would you need? Joint ventures. This is critical, right? How do we facilitate the joint ventures? Super simple. Check this out. We're going to help you and facilitate the joint ventures by understanding each other's weaknesses, strengths, and facilitate the synergies between yourselves. So this is what we do, guys. Check how powerful this is. On the left, pretty much people with money, the more dollar signs, the more money they have. And on the right, some of them do have proof of funds, but they have time, and we're facilitating the joint ventures. Okay, so we're profiling every single one so that everyone on the right-hand side is part of the transaction from the left side, meaning the capital partners. So this is huge that we're helping people with no money be part of the transaction. So we want the SWAT team, we call the SWAT team, to be very proactive, tie these properties, get them on the contract, present them to the capital partners, right? Manage the rehab, be part of the transaction. Bring your GCs to the equation, add value so that you are not left out. So one more thing that you're gonna need, okay? So you're gonna need exclusive access to the power team. We're compiling, already we have a handful of GCs, contractors, like today, 2 of them on the bus tour, an incredible inspector, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, so everyone is contributing to this pool of contractors, which is extremely powerful to the point that we have written quotes on the properties on the contract, okay? So that's a huge value. Now, this is what you're gonna get. Access to off-market deals, MLS, that's our job, okay? That's what we're putting all our resources, securing funding, whether through our mortgage broker or through the people on the left, the capital partners, through partnerships. Also establish joint ventures. And next, access to our power team, okay? So it's huge, huge value, right? So if you combine the value, over $28,000. So I had 2 choices, guys. The first one is to price it as low as possible, but that would not incentivize us even to add or stack up the value from the bonuses. Or the second one requires a little higher investment on your end, but in exchange, we're giving you everything that you need to be successful. There's nothing on the way for your success. So if all this did was to give you guys the final push to make you more successful, would it be worth it? Is that a yes or a yes? Of course, right? To give you the ability to do what's truly meaningful in your life, would it be worth it? Is that a yes or a yes? Of course, right? Or to get you only one home run deal, would it be worth it? Just like Joe, all the properties that we got on the contract that we're paying 50, 60 cents on the dollar, would it be worth it? Just one home run deal where you end up with $30,000, $40,000 on the back end. Would it be worth it? Of course, right? So what's one home run deal to you? Like the Dalton property, right? That has equity of at least 20 to 30,000 on the back end. So to me, how much is that worth? That much, at least 30,000. So let me tell you, if I was to ask you, how much would you pay when you get a great deal that is worth 30,000? Would you pay 20,000? Yes or no? Would you pay 20,000 to get 30,000 in exchange? Of course, right? Because we're making money. So as you can see, it would be even a great deal if I was to tell you right now, I'm going to charge you 10,000 to give you a $20,000 deal, but no. So this is what we have. The deal makers to the general public is $5,000. But guess what? I've been asked to give you a special gift. So this is the special gift. $34.97 to become part of the deal makers. Okay, $34.97 today. Plus, if we source a deal on the at closing, we'll charge a 3% commission. It's consulting fee, and the reason why we charge this is because many times in the past, Frida and I did dual agency. So we kept the listing agent, we let the listing agent keep all the commission in exchange for the deal. No brokerage is going to do that. We have the ability to do that, and we're going to look out for your best interest to get the deal. If that's what it takes, we did it last week. We gave up the commission, right? So like Jerry's commission, Mark's commission is gone. But guess what? That is why we still charge a 3% consulting fee on the back end so that everyone gets paid. You get the deal, and then we charge the 3% at closing. So now you have two choices, guys. Do nothing. Don't take this leap of faith. And perhaps we meet again in a couple of years and you'll be where you are today. I don't want that to happen, right? The second option, yeah, you know, I met this guy at a coffee house today, and you know, he told me, no, I don't think I can do this. I told him, you know what? I don't want you to spin your wheels. I think you should do whatever you want, but real estate. I don't want to come meet you in 2 weeks, in 2 years, and see that you are where you are today. I would feel horrible. I highly advise you to do something else other than real estate. He was doing Uber. I said, do whatever it takes, but don't get into real estate. You're just going to waste your time, your money, everything. Don't do it. If you don't know how to do it, you're going to get wiped out on the first deal. So dabblers and doers, right? So I love these. Dabblers are people who like to sit, learn, but they find every possible excuse to move forward. So this is what we figure out. The doers are the ones who truly get ahead in life. Why? Because they have faith in themselves. They know that it's worked amazingly well for us, for other people, and they have faith that it's going to work out for them. So the great news is that even if you believe you are a dabbler today, this is the great news. You have the option, the choice to become a doer today. When you become part of the deal makers, I love this video from, let me play it, from Tony Robbins. I want you to hear this.
You take the wrong action. If you keep changing your approach, you can succeed in anything. The problem is most people live in there.
I'm going to play this again.
People often ask me, how has my work evolved over the years? And, I start out with a very simple understanding that action is the key to everything. Even if you take the wrong action, if you keep changing your approach, you can succeed in anything. The problem is most people live in their heads. They have their dream, they have their goal, they have the desire, they get hyped up about it, they get fearful about it, and they just don't execute. And it's an illusion that knowledge is power. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is trumped every single day by execution. And so everything in my life.
Do you hear that? Knowledge is trumped all day long by execution. Knowledge is an illusion of power. Execution is what counts. Like today, we went to see properties. We're doing what truly is going to make money for people. So money replenishes, but time does not. We all get paid every 2 weeks. We have disposable income after we pay all our fixed expenses. The cool thing is that money keeps coming back every 2 weeks, right? But the cool thing is that you really have to invest in services products that are going to add value to your life. And the key is that time does not replenish, right? So you can go out, and this is what I told this other guy, you can go out, waste months, years of your valuable life trying to figure this out. Well, instead, you should save that time and effort. Why? Because we've spent it already on your behalf. Frida and I have made mistakes. We set the path for all of you, right, to be successful. So it's going to require a small investment on your side, but in exchange, you're going to become successful today, not tomorrow. That's our objective, for all of you guys to be successful and replicate Frida and my success today. So again, this is where you're going to have access to great deals off market, on market, secure funding, establish partnerships. Number 3, number 4, exclusive access to Power Team. Those are the bonuses. And we're going to do something really amazing just for the first 10 people. So you can now say goodbye once you're all set up with deal makers. Do everything you used to do before, right? Trying to find deals, analyze them. Can you imagine what your life would be like when you get rid of all those headaches, trying to figure out deals, analyze them, getting them on the contract? So this is once you get all set up with the system, that's what's going to happen for you. And for the first 10 people, we're going to do something really cool. Ninja, I call this. So we're going to give you access to our masterminds on a weekly basis. We meet from 6 to 8:30 every Tuesday. This is where we negotiate deals over the phone. So we're going to give you access to our cash flow and wholesale training. And this is going to be huge because guess what? When we run our meeting at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, Russell Walker is going to run the first half of the meeting. We're just going to talk about wholesale. That's all we're going to be doing, analyzing deals, wholesaling. The second half, we're going to talk about cash flow, flips and rentals. And then we do our deal makers meeting at 7:30 every Tuesday. Okay? So you have access for the next 6 months. And then you're going to get a copy of our upcoming book. Okay? Learning, how to go from learning to earning in the next 90 days. So all the secrets are in this book. So you're going to get a copy of that book that is going to be published very soon, hopefully in the next month or so. You're going to have a one-on-one session with me, and I highly encourage this, okay? We want you to become part of this because I truly want you to be successful. And for that, I need to understand where you are, where you want to be, and fill in the missing pieces. Also, you're going to get our handbook. So it's comprised of 37 pages, okay? 37 pages that we put together. This is what we go by. This is how we build our success. Everything is in here. From establishing your entity to understanding stock, flipping, and rental markets, all the way to buying and hold properties. So we're going to give you that, and for sure, you're going to have your deal makers shirt. So that in itself is priceless, guys. So that's the shirt. So you're going to get access to the award for the next month. So that has pretty much all the leads, access to preferred partners over 300, breaking all habits. Guys, breaking all habits, I mean, this is very successful. This has been very successful for me and myself, but it's not about us, it's about you. Since I'm your mentor, coach, friend, I want to help you be successful today. So once you get all set up with this, you're going to be able to take the real estate investment efforts to the next level. And that is what we're here today, to help you really increase and get where you need to be, right? You were not here for 2 years where you expected. We want to make a change, and you need to make a change. So you're going to get all of that, again, that I mentioned, all of the bonuses described in here for the first 10 people, worth over $38,000, only for $34.97. Now, to get started, if you're already a member, all you need to do is send us a text message to 818-818 with the keyword success, your name and an email, and we can just charge your card, the $34.97. If you are a new member, then when you text this number, you're going to get a link to the sign-up page, which we have on the back as well. So if you're here in the room, all you need to do is send a text message if you want to become part of the deal makers today. And if you don't have access to DealWall, you're not part of the network, we can get you set up on the iPad, but you can also do it right now to let us know if you're interested in becoming a deal maker. So how many of you that are not part of deal makers want to become deal maker today? Raise your hand. I see too many hands up. Huh? Yeah, everyone is deal maker, but the ones who are not in the room, okay? So raise your hand. Who are not deal makers? So very few. David, okay. So Savannah, is there anything preventing you? What is it that is holding you back to be part of our group? Money. Money. Anybody else? Giovanna? West. Okay, the location. So they're going to be coming. Once you join, we get your areas, and we're going to be sourcing deals in those areas. So whatever areas of interest you are looking for, we're going to start sourcing those once you become a deal maker.
First property, west, and on the first part, we had 2 level west, Jerry.
Yeah. So once you give us your area, we're going to be sourcing deals in those areas. And remember, you live wherever you want, but you need to invest where it makes sense. So we're sourcing areas that you're going to be making money on both flip and the rental. Savannah? Yeah. Talk to your husband. Talk to your husband. Okay, so we'll follow up with you. Anybody else? Great question. Forever. Our commitment is lifetime. Our commitment is for you to be successful today. Right? You're already a Chicago Deal Vault member, so you have access to the product, to the software, and to Deal Vault, and then maybe the inner circle. But to be the deal maker, then it's the VIP pretty much, because we're going to be working closely with you to be successful. And it's forever, right? Until you reach your objectives. That's the key, right? Because I don't want you to spin your wheels to waste time, money, and in 2 years down the road be where you are today. I would hate for that to happen. I don't want to let it happen pretty much. So I'm going to work with you guys so you become deal makers. For those of you who are still not deal makers, I want you to meet me in the back table, and then I'm going to work with you because, again, the list of the things that I want is to see you in about a year's time, and then you're still showing up to these webinars, and then you are where you are today. That would suck. I would ask you right now to exactly reconsider real estate, right? So you've got to have the right team, the right mentor, the right tools to be successful. So if you're not deal maker, please come meet me in the back. I'll be able to answer any questions and help you be successful today. Okay, so if you're not deal maker, so now for those who are deal makers, we've been doing this for the last few weeks. What's been your experience? Who wants to volunteer? Okay, Jerry, come on over.
I've been trying to do real estate since 2008. And I've had a real hard time. One, because it's hard to find a good mentor. Two, it's hard to find capital. Three, it's hard to find deals. With deal makers, I've got all of that. I've met people that have money that I can do deals with because I've networked and I've built rapport, built relationships. As you saw, there were plenty of deals up there. And being the broker, I was at the mall. I've been pretty busy over the past 2 weeks, more than I've been since my whole career started in 2015. In the past 2 weeks, I've been extremely busy. So all the things that you look at and that you hear that stop you from real estate, they're all answered in deal makers. I know it seems like a lot, but for what you get for it, it's really, really, really valuable. I don't back anything that's not valuable and that I don't get anything out of. I'm very cynical. I'm very critical. I'm very cautious about everything I do and where my money goes. And knowing him for the time that I've known him and the connections that he has, I guarantee you, you're going to get everything you're looking for and you're going to get your goals met. For me or him? Okay. By who? I haven't done yet. That's why I'm looking to get the right property and to make these relationships. That is going to take time. Even though we do have the properties and we do go see them, the property, it still has to make sense. Because I'm a new investor, I'm a neophyte. I've only done one wholesale, and that's been about 3 or 4 years ago. So I don't want to do a property that's going to take a lot of work to do or a lot of time. So a lot of the properties we've seen, they can be done, just not by me, because I'm still new. So I'm not going to do anything that's going to require probably more than 30,000 a week. It's like, yeah, I'm not. I'm not going to try to take that on when I'm still brand new. So no, I haven't found that yet, but I build relationships already with money partners in the deal makers. So when we do find it, we're ready to go. So all I have to do is find the right deal, and I'm in. It's done, and that's going to be worth everything. Does that help?
Thank you, Jerry. That was awesome. Please give him a bigger round of applause. Anybody else who recently joined the Deal
He is
Makers?
your broker, so that's the best part of deal making.
Exactly. Anybody else? Joanne, anybody else who wants to give your honest opinion? Anybody else? Come on over. Freddie.
Good afternoon. But the great thing about this team is you have access to properties. You get to go out and look at the properties. You know, you're taking action. So once you start being comfortable about this stuff, you look at the properties around a group of people doing the same thing, and then you're networking too. So the biggest thing that what he's saying that off-market properties is the key. But then you have to do the MLS. But then again, once you start getting to the other side of money, you have more leverage side. You start doing the MLS. So like Jerry's saying, if you see something you like, we can help you with it. You offer that properties in a certain area, and then you connect with people that have money too. So once you start building that relationship, you start understanding numbers, you know, in your area. So it's saying like you scope out your area, you start like, then you start to feel comfortable with what you're doing. Just don't feel uncomfortable until you start feeling comfortable with the situation. I suggest everybody start wholesaling. Then you start understanding what's going on. You start wholesaling, then you start getting into the game. You only get in the game when you start taking action, put offers out. So that's what I say. But man, my biggest thing I was having finding problems. And so many started doing it now. So the aspect that we have to get property off market properties, the connection they have, we have firsthand. So we can take action on those deals.
Thank you, Freddie. Please give him a bigger round of applause. Anybody else who wants to come in? Yes. Eric. Thank you.
Yeah, hi guys, my name's Eric. I'm a real estate investor. I joined Deal Makers because I was lacking two important pieces of my puzzle that were missing that was keeping me from becoming a successful real estate investor. One is finding deals, good deals, not just deals, but good deals that make sense. The other one was finding good contractors to do the work on my good deals that I found. So by joining Deal Makers, that completed the pieces of the puzzle that I was missing to become a good real estate investor. And I'm grateful for this. It's a great program. Even though it's still in its infancy, it's going to be really huge. And Hugo got more properties coming down the ladder like really soon. And to answer your question, even though Jerry has not picked up a deal yet, we've been in Deal Makers for 4 weeks now?
3 weeks.
The first week, actually it wasn't even a week before we had our first property tour. And there were 2-3 people that picked up properties from that tour. This one that we did today, there's probably going to be at least 2 or 3 picked up by the group because I've been interested in 2 of them myself. So, I mean, it all depends on the area you're in, what kind of property you're looking for, and how soon you're ready to get it. So if you run a tour with us today, you probably would have been interested in 1 or 2 properties that we had. And even the tour we did a couple of weeks ago, if you were able to pick up one of those properties, you probably, your bid would have been in the head as well. But it's, if you guys, if you want to scale up and grow your real estate career, being in a program like this is probably the best way to do it because it's kind of difficult to do it alone. You need partners, you need people with experience, you need people with connections, and what his brokerage is offering us as well with the CMAs, that's a powerful enough tool itself, man. That is awesome. So, I mean, that's all I have to say. Good luck. If you guys decide to do it, you're doing a great job. If you don't decide to do it, good luck with your real estate career, just like you're going to say. You might as well just find something else to do. So, I mean, he said he's going to work with you guys and try to get you in there. You know, it's a powerful program and a powerful team.
Thank you very much, Eric. Please give a big round of applause. Anybody else? Yeah, Ron?
Okay. I used to be HUD project manager. I managed foreclosed properties 3 to 400, and I just bought a house in Oak Lawn, personally, me. Okay, and I'm glad that I joined the deal makers because that's about trying to get properties and stuff to at least me to help out and do some funding because I have the money to help be a private lender. And so we have to all know what to do. Contractors, electrical, and I've had a lot of experience in properties because I worked for HUD for 5 years. Plus, what I'm doing now is an industrial hygienist. My job is on commercial and residential properties. And I do this every week to find out how these, whether they're demoing or rehab. And so I know what to look for because I'm also IDPH, Illinois Department of Public Health. So you want to make sure that you're doing all the right things. So I'm here to help out, and I'm also here to do health funding. So I'm here to get properties too. So anyway.
Thank you very much, and please give him a big round of applause. So no, that's very powerful. Anybody else wants to give their experience? Anybody else? So yeah, guys, talking about, Ron, what he mentioned is super powerful. His life changed, and he's now able, he went from the SWAT team to being he could become a private money lender. I mean, I'm talking like he's got resources to fund anybody's property. I mean, this is huge. And that's what's coming down the pipe. I think I mentioned that to you guys earlier. Once that hits, they told me December, if that becomes available to us by December, that they're going to commit 20 million for funding, and we're going to be part of that, that's going to become a game changer. Now, to get into this club, the deal makers, is not going to be 3,500, it's not going to be 5,000, it's going to be way more. It's going to be way more. So I don't know when we're going to be running another acceptance to these deal makers, but if you're not part of it yet today, this is, in my opinion, one of the best and greatest chances to ride this wave. That is, it's just going to become amazing. I know we're up to something really good, and it's only not my opinion, it's everyone's opinion, because in less than a month, like having 4 properties on the contract, it's not something simple. All the showings we're doing, I mean, this is going to become really, really amazing. I'm super happy, proud, and thanks to Frida that she's been very extremely supportive. Everything we do passes and runs by her. I always check with her thoughts, and it's been amazing because we want you to replicate our success. If we've done it in the last 3 years, there's no reason for you to, even if you accomplish 5% of what we've done in the next year and a half or so, you'll be really, really well off. Does that make sense? So for those of you who are not part of deal makers, please come to the back, join me. I want to talk to every single one of you. So come to the back. For those of you who are deal makers, we're going to need to connect to these properties that we saw, because we should at least get one we should buy, and the other one I'm going to negotiate with the seller to knock off about 20,000 so that we get at least 2 properties. The other 2 properties, guys, we're going to wholesale. We're going to try to wholesale. So I already talked to Russell on the back end. He's got some numbers in mind, and we're going to start to try to wholesale the first 2 properties. Actually, one of the deal makers already has a buyer for the first property we saw, so that might not be available, but at least we have the second one near Bronxville. So I'm so excited and so much looking forward to making you guys more successful, and above all, for you guys to do what's truly meaningful in your life. Because I experienced that, and I want that for every single one of you in this room. And I'm committed to making that happen at all costs. Okay, guys, so thank you everyone for joining. For those of you online, call me, please. Give my cell phone number, Phil, to everyone on the line. So thank you everyone for joining. And then I'll be in the back to meet everyone who's not a deal maker yet. So thank you everyone for coming.